Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense, Kash Patel, FBI Director, have something else in common besides incompetence, and that is that they're going to get fired and may also be subject to criminal investigation and prosecution in the near future when the Democrats take back the White House and the Department of Justice. Pete Hegseth, for obvious war crimes, having ordered the double tap takeout of two men clinging to a shipwreck, faced in the wrong direction, not heading to the United States, heading away from the United States, and clearly not worried about continuing to drug smuggle. They were clinging there for their lives when Pete Hegseth gave out the command. The video is now out. It's being reviewed by bipartisan committees and the Joint Chiefs. I don't think Kash Patel is going to make it either. There's been a leak of a special report of FBI agents against Kash Patel calling for his firing. And who did it get leaked to? Donald Trump's favorite paper, Rupert Murdoch's own New York Post, and to his favorite podcaster, Miranda Devine. Donald Trump's fingerprints are all over that leak. And I cover it on the Intersection podcast. Let me move on to the war crime and murder charges that should be brought against Pete Hegseth. And if it's not now, it'll certainly be when tribunals are formed at the end, the cessation of the Trump administration. See, his lackeys and sycophants and bootlickers and enablers don't seem to have gotten the message that the Supreme Court only provided the superpower of immunity, criminal immunity, to the president, not to those under him. I'm looking at you, Pam Bondi, Attorney General, Todd Blanche, Deputy Attorney General, Pete Hegseth, Department of Defense. I'm not going to call it Department of War, even though you changed the stationery and photoshopped it because Congress didn't approve that. And the FBI Director, Kash Patel, and the rest. There's going to be tribunals. Now, I have no doubt in the reporting that on September 2nd, Pete Hegseth gave the command to fire a fourth or fifth missile from a drone and to hit two men clinging to the side of a fishing boat in one of the first strikes. There's been 20 strikes so far. More than 80 people disappeared by the Trump administration without due process in the Caribbean. And the reporting that just came out in the last couple of days is that Pete Hegseth, this is Washington Post, Pete Hegseth ordered the double tap. He ordered the code red, seeing the people clinging there. Now, we've seen the video that has been heavily edited just to show the initial hit. Now, people are going to testify against Hegseth. It is obvious from within the Pentagon that he gave the order once they saw that they were like in shock that people were still alive to hit it again and leave no survivors. Donald Trump doesn't even like that look, the optics of that. And he said, no, I only saw the video of the initial hit. I didn't see anybody clinging onto the side. And Pete Hegseth thought, yeah, me too, boss. I only saw the original video. That's a lie. That's a lie. And the people are going to be compelled to testify against Pete Hegseth as he's busy trying to drum up a court-martial for Senator Mark Kelly because he reminded the troops, and now you see why, right? He reminded the troops from brass down to rank and file that it is illegal and unconstitutional for you to follow an illegal, unconstitutional order of the commander-in-chief, along with a series of other elected officials. They're trying to recall him back to the Navy to court-martial him. Pete, you got bigger problems. The Joint Chiefs of Staff are now looking into whether a war crime and a murder was committed by you, for which you have a very flimsy Office of Legal Counsel memo that tells you it was okay to do what you did. It's not okay, even if you had a memo that said it's okay because we're in a non-land war with Venezuela or whatever it is. It's not okay to, while people are clinging to the side of a boat, fire on it again when there's no threat to the United States. and now members of Congress, including those that served in the military and in the intelligence community on both sides of the aisle, are weighing in. This may finally be the end of Pete Hegseth. I think it's certainly the end, for other reasons, of Kash Patel, which I'll talk about next. I would not be surprised if over the next 6 months, we don't see a changeover. Pam Bondi may lose her job. I think that goes to Todd Blanche. Kash Patel loses his job. I think that goes to the former Missouri Attorney General, who's now the deputy FBI director, who's friends with Pam Bondi. I think that Pete Hegseth loses his job, and somebody in the military, or maybe somebody like Joni Ernst, who's retiring from the Senate, gets that position. You're going to see changeover as Trump throws these people under the bus. Kristi Noem also gone. Now, let me switch gears and talk about somebody else who's on a very short shelf life, and that's Kash Patel. I saw all I needed to see when Miranda Devine, the podcaster of choice for Donald Trump, who's sort of the captured podcaster who runs her stuff on under the New York Post Rupert Murdoch banner, but all the administration goes on Miranda Devine. Suddenly she, under her headline 2 days ago, said there's been a leak of a 115-page FBI memo critiquing and basically calling for the firing of Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, the other right-wing podcaster, who's his number 2. And it's effectively a call to fire him. And Miranda Devine reports on it. Oh, I've got a copy of it. I have a copy of it too, by the way. It's up on Legal AF Substack. You can read it. Has 10 major findings, mostly against Kash Patel. But the fact that it went to Miranda Devine, I'm telling you, this is an insider job by the Trump administration. Donald Trump is notorious for having used the New York Post and its gossip columnists and the Miranda Devines to leak information to make him look better. All through his real estate career, he would constantly call Cindy Adams, who I think now is like 95 years old, gossip columnist on page 6 of the New York Post. And he'd call as himself, as his own publicist. He'd be like, yeah, this is Bill over at Trump Organization. And then he'd leak something about some woman he was dating or some real estate deal he was doing or some award that he got. And then they'd run it. He did that throughout the 80s and 90s and 2000s for the New York Post. This is another conjured up, not the report. The report has been done by 29 people, both inside the FBI, writing anonymously, and outside to tear down Kash Patel. But the fact that it went to Miranda Devine, I'm telling you, Kash, I don't know which is going to happen first. Some documents that we're going to get on December 19th in the Epstein matter related to the law that was signed by Trump that has to be released. Is it going to be December 19th that we're going to get some documents, or Kash Patel is going to get fired? There's no way. I'll come back and I'll admit if I'm wrong. There's no way they're putting Kash Patel up in front of the House and Senate Judiciary Committee again to be reamed and have a live autopsy performed by Jamie Raskin and or Cory Booker or others after this report's come out. This report was done to give Donald Trump cover to fire Kash Patel, right? Patel's already got his own, he's got to be on his PJ. It's not even his private jet. It's our private jet. He's on a Gulfstream romancing his 20-something-year-old girlfriend. I thought I was like, when I first read the report, I thought I was reading a new update on Bill Belichick and his girlfriend. I'm like, he's got a 20-year-old girlfriend. He's running around on our taxpayer dollar, whining and dining her. He needs a SWAT team because she's singing the national anthem. Welcome back. The Intersection Podcast. It's only about 6 months old, but with your fervent support, we are already in the top 30 of all podcasts in America on YouTube rankings. Download the audio, watch the video, and then become a card-carrying member of the Legal AF community by becoming a subscriber to Legal AF YouTube. Until my next report, I'm Michael Popok. Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.